Hello, it's Julie Rothwell here from artyheaven.com. I've been a bit missing in action on this page. So if you don't know me, my name is Julie Rothwell. I am an artist and I've been on this page for probably, crikey, nearly 12 years now. So yeah, I've been painting and sharing my art with the world on this page. I generally tend to specialise in encaustic wax painting. So if you've seen encaustic wax before, it's generally what I'm sharing on this page. But I've been a bit quiet recently, and the reason for that is that about 6 months ago, I moved down to Cornwall. So yeah, up sticks and come back to where my childhood home was. So yeah, I figured it was about time to show my face and come and say hello and just do a little update basically of what's been going on. So although I'm down here, it's taken yeah, I just needed a couple, 2, 3, 4 months to recover. I kind of got through Christmas and New Year and really starting to get things back together again now. I have got some work in a little art gallery down here. It's called Tiki Doo. It's near Wainhouse Corner, near Crackington Haven. If anybody knows of that, it's at Trelay Farm. So I've got some pieces there. It's a really cute little gallery. It's a bit off the beaten track, so you kind of need to find it. When you get there, it's an absolute treasure trove inside. So if you're in the area, definitely worth the drop in. Kind of get there and think, oh, what is this place? But when you're inside, it is really, really lovely. Got all sorts of beautiful things in there. And yeah, it's just a nice little, cozy little place to find all sorts of unusual one-off pieces of artwork and it's all local artists to the area. So yes, so that's one of the things that I've been doing. I've been doing an awful lot of reflecting on life as well. I think big moves and big life changes cause that to happen. So I've been obviously cleared up my studio. I've been going through all of my artwork, and so I've found some pieces that I will be sharing this up. And basically the purpose of this week is really just to kind of ease myself back into life. So I've been doing a lot of reflecting, so I'm going to share a lot about that this week. Just some inspirational stories, some behind the scenes. I've found some art pieces that, I don't think I've ever actually shown them. They're not on my website, and the intention has been to add them, but they haven't, and I've found them, so I'm going to be sharing those later this week as well. And I'll be just going into what the inspiration was behind the pieces and yeah, just a little bit more about that. But I'm also going to cover some more general things as well, so things such as like just how healing art can be. Again, lots of reflection this last few weeks and months, and also just experiences with purchasing art as well, based upon my personal experience and what people have said to me as well. Yeah, so anyhow, if hopefully you can see this going out. If you're here, do drop a comment below and say hello. It's great to know that people are watching and who's here and where you're from. So yeah, do pop that on there. So much has changed since I did. It shows how long since I last did a live, because there are all these extra functions at the at the bottom of my screen, from filters to links to all sorts. So I'm hoping that this is all going out correctly. So I'm currently doing this live on my Facebook page, which is Julie Ann's Gallery. It's a page on Facebook which, as I say, I've been running for 12 odd years now, but I will also share it out to YouTube and hopefully Instagram. Yeah, and hopefully it will all share across seamlessly, fingers crossed. So where am I at? So, the other thing that's been happening as well is, I've got some notes here. I'll probably completely go off tangent because I always do. But I thought I'd start off with a couple of rough updates from here. That's right. So encaustic wax. So I paint, as I say, if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I paint with encaustic. It's what I specialise in. And if you don't know what encaustic painting is, it's painting with hot molten beeswax. It is the most beautiful, beautiful medium to work with. I just fell in love with it when I came across it. I was back in end of 2011. I started painting with it in 2012 and I just haven't stopped. I do other styles of painting, but I generally tend to layer them in with my encaustic practices as well, just because I cannot seem to, for the time being, cannot seem to pull myself away from the wax painting. So anyhow, so since I've been done, I don't currently have a studio set up. We're in temporary accommodation for the time being, so we don't kind of have permanent space, as in like long term. But I've been in touch with so many of my old art buddies down here, and it's been really great catching up, getting inspired, and the local scenery, if you've never been to Cornwall before, it's beautiful, and it's just full of amazing inspiration all the time. So I've been to see some friends, and in Bude there are a couple of locations that I'm able to use for encaustic workshops. So if that's something that's been on your mind, particularly if you're in the Cornwall area, which is southwest in the UK, I have spaces that I can use, so contact me and we can arrange. I'm not doing set times because there's just too much to coordinate with different studios and venues and what have you, but I do have access to a couple of locations that I can run workshops from. So get in touch if that is something that's been on your mind for a while. There's a page actually on my website. If you look under the shop section, it's called Arty Party, and then we can just do a bespoke session depending on whether it's just yourself and a friend, or maybe a small group, and then I can confirm pricing depending on what is available, and dates, etc. So that's one thing, which is great. So it's, although I'm not back at a full studio setup just for me as yet, I'm sure it will come in time. I do at least have somewhere that I can go and work from. And then the other thing, which is really exciting, which I am loving at the moment, is I have teamed up with Jeanette Lendon, also known as Jet, from Jet Black Squares. So Jeanette used to be, when I had my very, very first art studio up in Hertfordshire, up in Bourne End, Jeanette was a photographer and she had the studio downstairs from me. So that studio was just amazing. I loved it up there. It was full of inspiration. There was sort of between 15 and 20 of us up there at any one time, and we all used to bounce ideas off each other. It was a great studio. It was my first art studio, and it really holds a special place in my heart. But so Jeanette, who was in the studio downstairs from me there, she runs a company called Jet Black Squares, and whereas she used to have her, her proper photography kit, she now purely focuses on smartphone photography. And she's been running smartphone safaris up in sort of London and Hertfordshire for the last probably 4 or 5 years, I would imagine. Must be coming around at that sort of time scale. Anyhow, she had nobody down here in the southwest doing that. So I have been... I've teamed up with Jeanette basically, and I am currently her Jet Black Squares Cornwall arm, if you like. So yeah, it's really exciting. I've had my first workshop booked in. So I've got a couple of personalised ones, one in Polzeth, one in Port Isaac. I've got somebody booked in for a group safari in Boscastle. So the bookings are coming in, which is brilliant. I'm really excited for them. And you can take amazing photos on your smartphone. A lot of people don't realise just actually how good the cameras are on there. So I've been doing that. So it's not going to stop anything that I'm doing with my encaustic black practices. I'm going to continue doing that, but alongside I'm going to be doing the smartphone photography. So I've got a new Instagram and Facebook page. It's called Jet Black Squares, and then it's _ Cornwall. So yeah, go and have a look on there. That will show you all of loads of amazing scenery and show you where we are down here in Cornwall. Some of the local scenery up on the north coast is just beautiful. Photography is amazing. But the thing I love about it is that it dovetails in beautifully with my encaustic. So I will continue to be doing photo encaustic for the time being. That's going to be my primary focus, and then I've got an exhibition coming up at the end of April, so that's what's going to be in there. So lots of exciting stuff there. So I can see there's a couple of people on, which is great. Thanks for joining me live. Yeah, feel free to put any questions in or comments or anything, or just listening quietly, but thank you for being here. So I've got my little gallery, found somewhere that I can run some workshops, part of Jet Black Squares, which is great. I find that so inspiring, and the great thing about it is I don't kind of need the full studio set up for that at the moment, so it's a really nice thing that just layers in with my encaustic practices as well. And then I'm going to come on live. I haven't got set times yet, but I'm going to come on a few times this week and just kind of share some stories that have happened. As I said, there's been so much reflection since moving down here. I'll save all the stories for another day, but I've people that have made comments, people that worked with me right back at the beginning of my art, bumbling along in the darkness when I didn't have a clue what I was up to, and they've been with me since then. And just some of the comments and people that you kind of forget are even there, because it was so many years ago. But when you kind of do a big life change and they send you these lovely messages and great comments, and it's just like, oh, it's just really heartwarming and touching that people still remember you for a start, but also that they've been touched by the art that's come out as well, and the experiences, or maybe been done a workshop with me, or bought a piece. It's so lots of little things like that. So I'm going to kind of drop in a few times this week and share some of those stories, and then as I said, I'm going to show you a couple of. I'll just do a quick flick through a few of the pieces that I pulled out. I have basically been through pretty much every piece that I've got in my studio, and I've discovered, I knew there were pieces that I needed to add to my website, but I just find the website side the least favourite part of creating art, and I knew they were there and I just haven't updated them. So I'm going to show you some of those as well. They're going to come out, have the time to show them. It's time for them to see them in the world. So I'm going to later in the week go through those in a bit more detail. So let me turn this around. I'll give you a quick. So these are a few of just a few. I've found quite a lot actually. So I'm going to kind of go through some of the stories behind these pieces and just share a little bit about a selection of artworks that I've got. These are all encaustic pieces on paper, but all got some quite nice stories about where they came from. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold this. Hang on. So yeah, I've got some red ones and blue ones. There's a hot air gun one here. I don't know how well this is going to come out on the video with the colours. The lighting in here isn't great. So yeah, these are some that I did with my giant A2 hot plate, which I love. So these are just a few that I've got packaged up. And to be honest, part of the reason that they're not on my website is because they're in this cellophane, and I forgot to take photographs of them before they went in the cellophane. So it means I've got to unwrap them or re-photograph them, etc., etc. So I just thought I'm going to share them imperfectly, rough and ready on a live video. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. So I'll be coming on a few times. I'm going to keep these quite short because nobody wants to be spending hours and hours on here. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments and I'll come back and answer them next time. But I've got loads of little pieces. Well, these are some of the large pieces. I've got a few pieces of art of all sizes. I'm going to be talking about them, the inspiration behind them. Yeah, just some stories and just some personal stories that have come through of how, what art has made to people, and just a series of little stories and snippets this week. So hopefully you'll join me back here. As I say, I will share this out onto the other channels as well. And yeah, ask any questions. And if you joined live, thank you so much for being here. It's great to see you. And we'll catch up with you soon. Take care. Bye.